Hey, what's up, everybody? I am WCIA3 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. In here with you, going to do a little bit of a severe weather kind of update. And so here's what I want to do. As we get started here, I would love to hear from all of you. Let me know that you can see and hear me okay on all the different platforms, because we're streaming in a lot of different places here tonight. And we're going to be talking a lot of weather here about this upcoming round of severe storms that is potentially setting up here as we head into the day and more of the night tomorrow. So again, let me know where you're watching from, and let me know that you're able to see and hear us and everything. All good, and looking forward to talking to you guys here tonight. And also, I'm going to be like seeing your guys' messages too, which is going to be cool for me. So we're going to answer some of your questions and talk to you about what to expect. I've got a lot of in-depth stuff that I'm actually going to go into here. And it's not, we're going to give you more than what you just see on TV, because I've got the time to do it. So I'm really looking forward to being able to hang out here with you guys and talk all things weather here tonight here online. Lots of people watching Facebook, X, our weather app, maybe even Instagram for some of you. And again, I'm hoping to be able to kind of, have you guys talk about, answer some of your questions that you may have. So looks like a lot of people already in here with us from all across the area. So good evening to you. Again, my name is Kevin Lighty. I'm the Chief Meteorologist here at WCIA, and let's get into some of this here. Let me fire up some of our different weather graphics. Here's, something that I'm just going to say kind of in general, okay? I get the question a lot. We've got people that watch us from all over, Shelbyville and Monticello and Cerro Gordo and Piper City and Danville and Casey and Milford and Arthur and Effingham. These are just some of the comments that I'm reading here, but I get the question a lot, what am I going to see in my area and with these storms? This is a general sort of kind of overview of things. I think that nearly everybody is going to see at least a strong line of storms tomorrow night with brief heavy rain and frequent lightning, okay? Most all of you will see those thunderstorms that may get those strong winds. You're talking 55 miles an hour, a little bit of hail, okay? Some of you, though, are going to get those wind gusts that get to severe limits, that get maybe 60 to 70 miles an hour. That's only some of you. Tornado, severe thunderstorm warnings for some of you. This is not everybody. And a few of you, out of the thousands that are watching, you may have some tornadoes, okay? A few of you. And some of those could be of EF2 strength, wind damage, power outages. But boy, there's a lot that goes into what exactly you're going to see, okay? I know that I'm going to get a question for nearly every city out there. I get it. Everybody wants to know their city. I'm just going to tell you right now, while as good as we are as meteorologists and as good as technology has become, we cannot say 24 hours in advance to the city, to the street, to the neighborhood, to the house, that in fact a tornado is going to be there. So this is going to be my overarching theme before we get into all of the what about specific town, fill in the blank. Everyone needs to be weather aware tomorrow night. The severe weather threat is there for everyone, okay? So we can't get into specifics. Now I'm going to show some general areas that maybe have a slightly higher risk than others, and I'm going to show you those maps. But before we get into all of those questions in regards to that, I just wanted to throw that out there because I know that's going to be asked quite a few times. Okay, let's get into more of this here. So I'm going to be talking about a few different things here. First off, let's talk a little bit about the temperatures here for tomorrow. It is going to warm up quite a bit. We're going to be somewhere in those mid and upper 70s tomorrow during the day, maybe some lower 80s, and that is going to set the stage for that severe weather threat. The $1 million question all has to do with, or two questions, has to do with the warm front and the cap, okay? The warm front and the cap, and that's what we're going to be talking about here. Strong thunderstorms, severe weather, they need a few things. They're going to need moisture, and they're going to need that instability, and they're going to need, some type of lifting mechanism, and they're going to need that wind shear, okay? So we've got a little bit of everything for tomorrow. Temperatures are there, but the question is, where does that warm front set up? That's number one. Now, we're going to have a lot of instability, and basically that's storm fuel, we call it. It's measured in CAPE, convective available potential energy, and look at the graphic here that is going to show that increasing instability through the day. And what you're going to look for here are going to be those areas maybe where some of that red is. But here's the thing. It's sufficient enough. You don't need a ton of CAPE if you've got a lot of shear. They kind of balance each other out. So here's what we've got, okay? When you get that shear, or I should say that instability really increasing, look how that red color pools up there, kind of from Peoria to Quincy. That's a lot of instability there at 5, 6 o'clock. Now, notice some of the other colors, we've got some lighter yellows and oranges. So not as much, as you get south of I-72, but man, that area there, Peoria, close to Springfield, Bloomington, that area there, a lot of energy for those storms to feed off of. But notice as you work your way later into the night, you lose the instability. Now, there's still sufficient instability there that could still bring storms overnight, 10, 11 o'clock. But the threat for maybe tornadoes or strong tornadoes wanes overnight when you lose some of that instability. And look at that, by 4 o'clock, all of it's pretty much gone. So super high instability. Now, just because you have instability doesn't mean you're going to have storms fire off. You've got to have something to lift that parcel of air and, break through the cap, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit more. In general, though, the severe weather risk area that you have here is a enhanced risk. Okay, it's an enhanced risk here, and there's this sliver that cuts right through parts of central Illinois. You're going to have that area there from roughly Danville back to Champaign, Decatur, Springfield, points to the north. That's where I think tomorrow night we have the highest threat for tornadoes. That's your tornado area with the initial supercells that form along the warm front. Again, warm front, a key thing here. When we look at some of the threats here, we're talking about tornadoes, a medium threat there. Now, everything is conditional, though, based upon if we can get those supercells to form. And we're going to talk about the cap and all of that in greater detail here in just a second, and let you guys kind of understand what some of the limiting factors are and how that kind of plays out. We think we're going to have some winds there, and then the hail component could be pretty decent as well, which we'll talk more about here in a second. So here's your tornado risk. We kind of do a scale here. We do a 1 to 10, 1 lowest, 10 highest, and right about a 6, okay? And we use those numbers usually in those enhanced risk areas. It's right about a 6 in those areas there where the orange color is. Now, the reason why, it drops off from 6 to 5 to 2, because we think that the warm front definitely makes it probably up to I-74, I-72 at the minimum, but it could go a little bit more to the north of that. So there's that question mark, and a difference of 50, 75 miles can make a big difference because it is along the warm front where you get the most convergence, you get more of that rotation, you get backed winds at the surface, and those winds changing with height as you kind of go up, and you got that shear component. I'm going to show you a parameter here known as the significant tornado parameter. And this is one of the things that we look at here. And this kind of combines instability and wind shear together and allows us to sort of kind of gauge just how much of that energy and instability and wind shear are together. Okay, guys? So let's break this down, and we're going to show it to you. And the higher this number goes, again, it's called STP, the better the chances are for potential tornadoes. And let me just, there we go. And we're just going to kind of move this along. Notice the clock that's going to be up there. So just because you have, some STP doesn't mean you're going to absolutely have tornadoes, but you're going to notice here on these colors here in just a second. Tomorrow afternoon, they start to go up. Look at Peoria. It'll be kind of tough to see. You've got, and I'll just go ahead and take it full so you can see this a little bit better. Peoria, Champaign, Jacksonville, St. Louis, and Effingham, they're labeled. Look at that area where that red starts to come in, and that's up there near Peoria. Ooh, now we're getting into the pinks. Now those STPs are at, 4, 5, 6, 7, right around that 7 p.m. time frame. Basically, it means if storms get going, you're going to have a pretty decent chance that those storms will go tornado. They're along the warm front, and that is an area that storms can rotate. So the question is, where is that maximized instability and shear along the warm front tomorrow night? Okay, that's one component that we're looking at here, and it is centered up there. You can see those pinks and reds there. You're up there into Livingston, McLean County, Ford County, over there towards obviously Peoria there, and that's just out of our market area that we kind of cover. But that STP means, means like it's a good parameter to kind of use, but it kind of shows how that area is maximized during the evening. Now watch what happens the later we get into the night. Okay, that STP goes down a little bit, but still is there with the squall line that comes through. It's obviously not as high. So you still may have, tornadoes, embedded tornadoes on a squall line there. But it's that initial, like almost 3 hour window there. And I'm going to kind of roughly be like, 5 to like 8 o'clock or maybe a 6 to 9 o'clock where you're going to have that area right there across our northern counties where maybe you get that severe and tornadic threat. I hope some of that makes some sense there. And then again, everything kind of falls off. So again, we've got the enhanced risk here. That's the 3 out of 5. And I have already received this question a number of times, and let me try to answer it. And the question is, and I'm sure it's probably, in here at some point, somebody's probably already asked it. It was, could we go to the moderate risk? Could we go to the 4 out of 5? It's possible. You're going to see that, the Storm Prediction Center, who basically makes those severe weather outlooks, they may do that. Now, they haven't said for sure, hey, this may warrant a moderate. It's all very dependent. And, maybe that comes with better model data, more agreement that comes in later tomorrow, which we're going to show you some of those models here in just a bit. But for right now, we're at the enhanced risk, which is still good. You're going to have numerous storms. You're going to have, a few of those could be intense. You get to the moderate, now you're talking several, intense. You're talking continuous, long-lived. You're talking, some of those strong tornadoes, okay? And so we're going to have that potential, okay? Could it go to 4 or go to moderate? It is possible. Anything is possible. Could it go down? Yes, anything is possible. And that's the kind of the big thing, the takeaway from this is, you can't rule anything out. Any of these storms are going to have that potential to be severe. The forecast can evolve and can change, so we have to kind of keep that in mind. And you just always just got to kind of be watching things and seeing how they develop, and then adjusting and evolving as things kind of go on. So, yes, the possibility is there for moderate. Does it matter? I often, I kind of throw that there. Does it matter? I mean, maybe. You should be doing the same thing, the same preparations if it's an enhanced or a moderate. Both of them mean you could have tornadoes. So what are you going to do different? I would take them both seriously. So, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's whatever, but you should be preparing the same kind of way, even if it's a 3 or a 4. Okay. So there we go with that. We'll see what happens. The Storm Prediction Center update will come at 1 a.m. Tonight, and we'll see what they do. All right, just a little bit more on the hail size here. We could have some pretty decent hail. We think that's also going to be with those initial supercells that form. That's going to be when you get the storms that get going right on the onset. 6, 7, 8 o'clock again. Okay. right when those are discrete by themselves, those are the ones that can make the large hail, and that could be up to tennis ball size hail. Wind gusts here, again with the squall line, you maybe get to that 60 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour wind gust, and won't rule that out. Here's the key thing again, it's the position of the warm front. Where's the warm front going to set up? Is it going to go a little bit more to the north? Is it going to be up there? So that's kind of what we're trying to nail down, is exactly where the warm front is going to be. And so we've got to, that's a mesoscale thing. That's something that is, really kind of analyzed the day of. And sometimes it does meander a little bit. Maybe sometimes it drifts back down to the south, but it is along the warm front where those storms will maximize their rotational potential and where that tornado threat does exist. Okay. All right. So let's get into more of some of the timing of the storms. Then I'll show you some of the data here. So let me just kind of break it down like this. So tomorrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, probably not going to see anything. There's going to be a cap on the atmosphere. It's going to limit storms from forming because some of the better lift is going to be out to the west a little bit. But I think things may start to get going there after 6 o'clock, maybe more into that 7, 8, 9 o'clock time frame. That's where it's possible those storms could get going there. And if they break the cap, then they're instantly probably going to go tornadic, and that's obviously going to be an issue. There may be actually a better chance. Now, again, this is more of a timing on, possible, likely, most likely. To be honest with you, the most likely chance is when the cold front comes through and it forces that lift, and you get the storms to fire ahead of the cold front, and that's probably going to come later into the night. So 11 o'clock, midnight, 1, 2 a.m. That's the most likely. But where could you have the tornadoes be the highest, the higher threat? That's going to be more into that 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock time frame when those discrete supercells get going. So it's kind of twofold there. And it's a high tornado threat at the onset and early on, and then maybe we transition to more of a wind damage threat and maybe some embedded QLCS tornadoes, little spin-ups along the line as it comes through. All right, so I'm going to preface this. So there is new model data that's going to come out during this live stream. Let me just double check. And I'm going to show you guys that when it comes out. It's starting to come in here as we speak. And I'm going to share that with you when it's fully finished. I will tell you there has been some trending to the north a little bit on some of these storms. But this was some of the data a little bit earlier showing storms here for tomorrow. Notice you just get, some of these showers here going. But what's going to happen is an explosion of storms. Whenever it happens and wherever it happens, you're going to have the radar where it may look like this at 6 o'clock. Not much going on. And then kaboom, explosion, cap breaking, storms erupting, and then the cells kind of make their way off there to the north and east. And these initial ones at 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we're going to have to watch those for that potential of the tornado threat. That's maximized right there. Then you get the little squall line that comes through pretty late with the cold front. So it could come in two different waves. A scenario that could also happen if these storms don't fire off, if the cap holds and they don't get going, you may not have much of that first round, okay? And then you just kind of wait for the cold front to come through and bring the storms. That's what we have to figure out. So let me talk about severe risk and confidence. We have an elevated impact for severe weather, but the confidence in timing and exact placement is only medium, okay? We like it when the confidence is high. So we really know that, there's an elevated threat for severe storms, but we're not quite high on the confidence just yet. So we're happy to kind of wait and see as new model data comes in. So there's severe risk and confidence. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this cap thing that you may have heard of. Okay. And this graphic maybe is, gets a little complicated here, but we're going to try to talk about it. So during the day, the sun is out and it heats things up, right? And I've got a couple different graphics to kind of show this and what you're looking at here. And I'm going to take this full. You have basically temperature profile. You go up with the temperature profile as you get up, higher up in the atmosphere, things to cool off. But sometimes there can be some warm air aloft, right? And what that is, that pretty much limits storms from forming. As the day heats up, warm updrafts form and they start to rise. Okay, so that's what you're looking at here. So there goes that air rising. And as long as the temperature keeps falling with height, air will continue to rise. As it gets colder, air goes up. But if it hits that little warm air aloft, it is going to stop lifting so that you don't get the storms to form. So that is called a capped atmosphere. You need something to break through that cap, right? Okay. Let me move this along even more. And it gets a little busy on the graphic here. So there's your warm air. If the updraft hits that layer of warmer air, it is unable to continue upwards to form that larger cloud. You get those tall clouds. They need to, grow in height and, get up to, 30,000 feet and, really, kind of have their potential to become severe. So there you go. Capped. Uncapped, though, is when that parcel of air continues to rise if there's sufficient heating, okay? Or there's an area where maybe the cap is a little bit weaker and then storms form. The cap is broken and those storms can really get going. So that's kind of one way to look at it. The other way, and I like to explain it this way. So if you have a bottle of Coke, right? Think of the Coke that's in there. That is the energy, the instability, the storm fuel. And on that warm day, if you take the bottle of Coke and you shake it up, okay, nothing happens, right? You shake it up, it's just there. But as soon as you open the cap, it explodes. So you've got the cap on top of that Coke bottle. The energy is there. It's just sitting there, but it needs to be released. You need to break through the cap. Okay, that parcel air needs to continue to rise and explode. And that's where storms will go wild in 30 minutes. You'll have nothing, and then boom, all of a sudden that storm goes. So that is my analogy when we talk about the cap on the atmosphere. So there is a little bit of that warm air loft, and so sometimes that will, not completely go until you get better lift. You need something to force through that cap. And a lot of times that is of the cold front. Okay. And that's why sometimes in some instances, you don't have the storms that really go. So if you do get that, then those storms go big time. And then those storms can really be severe. And because they're discrete and they're by themselves and it's not like the big squall line, then, you can really see those storms blossom. I've got another cap example here. So let me kind of show you this one. So look at it like this. So as you go up, the temperature is, gets cooler, right? So 80 degrees, 65 degrees, but then all of a sudden, wait, 75 degrees. There's that warm air. Whoop, capping inversion. Caps it off. You don't get the storms, that air to continue to rise. But watch this. Cap in place, okay? Can you erode the cap or force storms through? If so, those storms get intense and severe. All right? So you're storing the energy there pretty good. Now, if that temperature goes from 80, 65, 55, 50, and you get that air, that warm air freely rising, it's uncapped, and those storms can get going. So again, hopefully that wasn't too kind of confusing, but a lot of people always, what's this cap thing? And are we going to have that? And so Oftentimes it can be a waiting game. It can be frustrating for forecasters, meteorologists, because it's like, well, will it or won't it? And you can look at model data. What is really handy, and the Weather Service talked about this when I spoke with them today, they are going to be probably releasing some special soundings. And basically, it's those weather balloons that go up, and they may do some. They do some at certain points in the day, but then they may do some special ones to sample. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Hey, how much of that warm air is aloft? How much of that is there, or is there? Is it not? And then, because those weather balloons measure that temperature as you go up, and so it is really key to kind of see what's going on in the atmosphere. And I fully anticipate them probably doing that tomorrow. So hopefully the capping explanation kind of made some sense there. Okay. I'm going to get to some of your questions here in just a little bit, but I got a few more things I want to go over. And some of these are just some, and I'm going to show you some of the new model data coming in here in just a second. I want to encourage you guys all to have several ways to get alerts tomorrow, okay? And TV is good. Your weather app is good. Your weather radio is good. Okay. Your phone's good. Facebook, Twitter, and outdoor warning sirens aren't always reliable. And what I mean by that is, if you're just scrolling Facebook, sometimes, as you'll have posts that come up that are like 2 days late. So don't just use Facebook. Now, if you're watching our Facebook feeds, great. And the live stream's great. But like if you're just relying upon a notification, or your feed to show you. So you got to have something else. And there's one thing that we are really proud of that we have here. And it's funny because we've actually had it for a few years now. And I see some others jumping in on it that are in the weather world out there. But it's called Weather Call. And I will call you on your phone. I will call you on your phone. You tell us your number, your location. And if there's a tornado warning in your exact area at your home, whatever address that you set it for, I call you. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you'll hear me on the end of the line. And I'm like, hey, there's a tornado warning in your area. Take shelter. Nominal fee. It's like, it's $1 a month or something like that. And that's just to support the infrastructure. We go through this third party, and Weather Call is it. We're just partners with it. And for some people, they want the phone call. They don't want to rely upon having to, turn on the TV or to have their, weather app notify them, or if they don't have a weather radio, or if they don't have internet, or if they don't have, a smartphone, they just have a regular home phone, or there are a myriad of reasons. And I get it, it's not for everybody, but there is a certain part of the population out there. They would like the old school way. They want a phone call. I'll call you. You can scan the QR code there. And or go to our website, WCIA.com, under weather. There's going to be Weather Call, or just Google WCIA Weather Call, and you could get it. Okay. Also, just as a reminder for you guys, make sure you've got your stuff ready to go. First aid kit, canned food, all that good stuff. Flashlight, weather radio, some water, cash, a whistle. I always tell people to have a whistle in case, you're trapped under debris. Make sure you put your shoes on. If you're under that tornado warning, if a tornado hits and your house gets hit, you want to make sure that you've got shoes on, because you don't want to be finding your shoes and walking over all that debris, right? So just always kind of a good reminder. One other thing I wanted to kind of talk about was kind of tornadoes by the numbers here. And I get the question a lot, how bad are these storms going to be? And I find it, really interesting. So for those of you, there's the EF scale, and it goes from EF 0 to EF 5. Okay. And I want to talk about, out of 100 tornadoes, okay, out of 100 tornadoes, 51.5% of the tornadoes are EF 0. These are all tornadoes that occur. 51.5%. Okay. So it's about 1 in almost 2 that are of that strength. Again, 0 the weakest. EF1, that's winds of 86 to 110 miles an hour. Those make up 36.5%. So 1 in 2.7. So now you combine those, EF0 and EF1, combining for, essentially, what is that, 87 or so percent, 88% of tornadoes? Or EF0 or EF1? EF2, 111, 135 miles an hour. Those are only about 9% of tornadoes. 1 in 11 get to that. So, boy, doing some of the math here, now you're like, we're at 97%. We're about 97, 98%, right? 97% of all tornadoes are EF2 or weaker. Now we start getting to EF3. And we had one of these up there in Michigan from last week. Those are only 1 in 43 tornadoes. They count for 2.3% of all tornadoes. Okay, it doesn't happen, as often as you might think. Now, those obviously can do a lot of damage. Then we get into the big ones, EF4. Those account for less than 0.5% of all tornadoes, 1 in 222. Okay. Then EF5, the strongest 2 miles an hour, the worst of the worst, 1 in 2,393, accounting for 0.04% of all tornadoes. Okay. The Storm Prediction Center has come up with a new way of doing some of their storm outlooks. And they actually are putting in there what is known as the significant threat for tornadoes, and kind of rating them. They are forecasting the strength of them ahead of time, essentially. Like, okay, where could these tornadoes be? I will tell you this, in their threat area, they're saying, EF2 tornadoes are possible with tomorrow's event. Okay. So again, those are rare, up to EF2 tornadoes. But again, keep in mind, 0, 1, 2, that's 97% of all tornadoes are going to be in that range. And then the rest of that 3% is 3, 4, and 5. So, less than 1% is a 4 or 5. So right now, with their forecast, they've got basically their first kind of level up to EF2. So just kind of wanted to explain a little bit about that. Hail. I find this, kind of fascinating here. Something called the updraft. So, basically that air being forced up in the storm there in the updraft. And in order to get some hail sizes, what they are, and I'll take this a little bit full, maybe you can see a little bit better, but the updraft speed required for hail, so the wind going up into the storm, you can see P, dime, penny, 40 mile an hour. You need a 60 mile an hour updraft to get ping pong ball size hail. Golf ball, 64 miles an hour. 69 miles an hour there, Hennig. Tennis ball, which we could have tennis ball size hail. A 77 mile per hour updraft is possible there. And that's the thing. We talked about maybe that potential for some hail to form. That's how fast that updraft speed's got to be to get things going. And again, here's your hail sizes. All right. And this is important for you guys when you guys are helping us out. Measure the hail. If you get hail, and use some kind of a uniform, known-sized object like a coin, dime, nickel, quarter, or a ball, golf ball, ping pong ball, baseball, tennis ball, softball, or grapefruit. Those are the kind of the official ones that the Weather Service uses. We may have up to 2.5-inch size hail tomorrow, tennis ball size hail. Not everybody's going to get that, but that's definitely going to be a possibility. I'm going to get to you guys' questions here in a little bit. I just want to go over a couple more graphics here about tornado safety and things here on where to go. So obviously, center part of your house, right? Lowest level, not the outside walls. Center part, lowest level. Sometimes it's a closet, it's a bathroom. Now in this instance, this bathroom's, it's on an outside wall. We don't like that. You would rather have a bathroom that's more center if you can of your home. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes under the stairs, if you've got stairs and whatnot. Basement's obviously best, but nothing on those outside walls. And avoid those windows, doors, outside walls. Cover yourself with a blanket, mattress, maybe even a helmet for your head for protection. Safest place to be obviously is going to be the basement, but obviously not everybody has a basement. So, I get it. Not a lot of people have basements. So if you need to go somewhere else, center part of your house. Here are kind of some other little tips here. The worst area, cars, mobile homes. Under a highway overpass, don't park underneath those. Large or open rooms, still pretty bad. Near an outside wall or manufactured housing, nope. Great places, interior room, center part of your house, bathroom, no windows. Obviously, best place, tornado shelter or safe room. And just kind of something else. A lot of people live in an apartment, right? Especially on campus, kids over there on campus, the U of I and other, Eastern and things like that. You want to be on the lowest level. Move inward, okay? Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Lowest level, bottom floor, Sometimes like the laundry rooms are down there, okay? Below ground obviously is best, but you're not always going to have that. So, that's what you're looking at. Just some tornado safety stuff there. Okay, folks, I'm getting some new model data in. And so I'm going to be sharing some of that here with you guys here. Okay, in just a bit. I'm waiting for it to fully come in. In the meantime, I'm going to try to pull up some of your guys' questions. And hang with me here because I'm trying to get this to work. And let me see if it will work. Okay. So we've got a bunch of questions here that are kind of popping up. And let me try to answer some of those that are just coming into us here. Go ahead and fire off some of your questions, and I'm going to do my best to answer some of those. So if you've got some questions, go right ahead and ask those as I'm looking at some other data that's coming in. Thanks for tuning in here on the live stream. A lot of you hopefully are enjoying what we're able to kind of provide here and talk to you about. Wow, some interesting data. Some really interesting data on the new model run, and I'm going to talk about it here in just a bit. Waiting for it to fully come in. Wow. Wow. Sorry, guys. I'm literally analyzing and looking at this with you guys right now. Ooh. All right, man, those could be some intense storms tomorrow. All right, here we go. Let me kind of roll back some of your guys' questions here. All right. We've got a hallway downstairs in our apartment that has 2 doors that close. That's where we'll be. Yep, there you go. So the worst of the storms are to be up north. Yes, the worst of the storms are going to be mainly north of the area. Okay, so not so much in Effingham or Beecher City. That's Katie's question there. So does the tornado threat include Jacksonville? Yes, Jacksonville, you're in the tornado threat. Everyone is in the tornado threat. If you live in a mobile home, what's your best choice? Best choice is finding another spot, finding a location that is different from the mobile home. Where is that? Well, it's got to be a storm shelter of some kind, or, something, more of a sturdy building. It doesn't have to be, listen, anything's better than a mobile home. Anything. Not anything. Car's not good. But like any building, okay, that you can get into that's anchored down to the ground. All right. Spent the day putting all my important papers into my filing cabinet. Took the filing cabinet to the basement. There you go. It's going to be more overnight in the Charleston area. Yeah, probably more overnight for Charleston as that second line comes through. Could the storms fail to fire if the cap is too strong? Yep, that's always a possibility. The storms could fail to go. But as I'm looking at some of the new model data, it's definitely showing that, those storms are probably going to be able to get going. Laundry room's nearly underground, just like our whole downstairs, except it's the only area down there without windows. So you're good down there. I wish I could get weather call, but I don't know if I can. You can get weather call anywhere, Sheridan. Do you think SPC will use a high risk? I do not think SPC will use a high risk. Where do you think the worst of the storms will hit? I'm in Livingston County. Yeah, Aaron, I'd be watching up there in Livingston County. I'm just going to tell you right now, I think that area could be in the thick of it. What's Upston looking like? Again, same thing. So let me, because I know we're going to get into, a lot of What about my city? What about my city? What about my city? So let me just throw this out here again on this map here. If you're in the 2, the tornado threat is going to be lower. It's lower for Paris, Charleston, Mattoon, Shelbyville. You ramp it up a little bit more along I-72, Springfield, Decatur, Champaign, Danville. You really kick it up north of I-72 and there along I-74, Fort Iroquois. Those are the areas. See where you live. Know where you are on the map. And lower threat to the higher threat. Okay? But everybody has the threat. Everybody. It's just there's a higher likelihood in that orange colored area. Does the tornado threat go down the later it gets? Yes. Cheyenne, the tornado threat goes down. Definitely the weaker tornadoes. You may have some of those little spin-ups that occur. Is Rantoul in the path of a tornado? No, Jennifer. There is no tornado that is in the path right now. I mean, you have the threat, but I think what you meant is the threat of a tornado. Yes, there's a threat. Mattoon, there's a threat. Salem, there's a threat. Clinton, there's a threat. And it's higher in that orange colored area. So again, what is the timing of the storm for the northeast central Illinois area of Vermilion County? Jessica, that's going to be, anytime after 7 o'clock. Timing again. Timing here. Here we go on the timing. 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Those initial storms and tornado threat is there, but then you get the squall line that comes through later. What do you think Pontiac will see? Yep, I think there's a chance of a tornado up there, Aaron. How bad will Springfield be? Again, I wish I could say for sure specifically about every single town. It's just not possible. I cannot say 24 hours ahead of time, exactly where. I can show you the general area where, severe weather threat is going to be higher. That's this map you see right here. Okay? The higher threat there. So if you're in that orange colored area, I would be more concerned than if you're in the green colored area. Okay? Are you going to be safe in Champaign? Olivia, I hope so. I mean, be in your tornado safe spot, in your shelter. Watch the coverage. We'll tell you what's up. A couple of weather apps cleared the weather tomorrow and pushed it to Wednesday. Should I believe that? I don't know what weather app you're using, but it ain't ours. So delete those. It is going to storm tomorrow night. Yeah, it may be more into Wednesday morning, technically. There could be some after midnight stuff. If the supercells fail to fire, does that create a higher potential for severe conditions from the QLCS? Not necessarily. I think the severe weather threat is there regardless. You're going to have that with the storms. Even if those storms don't fire, it's just you have a better chance of tornadoes with that initiation on the storms at 7, 8, 9 o'clock. When should you move to a more secure location? When the tornado threat is issued instead of a watch? I mean, depends upon how far away, how quickly can you get to your shelter? Can you get there in 5 minutes? Or is it going to take you 30? So, tornado watch is issued. Yeah, I wouldn't be out just, doing anything once the watch is issued. But, when the warning gets issued, sometimes you've got 10, 15 minutes. So it depends upon how far away, whatever the sturdy structure is. What time do you think it will start hitting Downers Grove and Naperville? Again, after 7 o'clock up that way. From Julia, Katie, be hanging out in our stairway, pots on heads, and bug out bag ready. Hey, whatever works. Center part of your house, one level. Hallway, it opens into a bathroom, is on the east side wall. Which is safer? A hallway with an open end or bathroom on an east wall? I would say the hallway is better than, that's tough without seeing your house fully. As many walls between you and the outside, because a lot of times it's the roof that goes first, and then it's the outside walls, okay? And anything that's center is going to be better off. Tolono, same thing. LaPorte, Indiana, yes, a higher threat up that way. Again, Caden, I think we've talked about the time frames several times, but after 7 o'clock tomorrow night, DeWitt County, going to be in the basement. Marion County, you're probably not going to see as much. Southern Illinois won't see as much with this. If our housing is a top floor of an apartment stairs are outdoors and no basement. Safest to go in the center closet of the highest floor. How about center closet of the lowest floor? Low floor, low floor, low floor. Patrick, low floor. Meteorologist to follow. It covers McDonough County. Is that? I don't know. Is that Peoria's area? I'm not sure. Maybe somebody else can chime in. Yes, you missed the time it's supposed to start, Lori. Where have you been? Where have you been, Lori? All right, here you go. After probably more like 7 o'clock. Okay, there could be some earlier stuff. I'm just looking at some new model data. So. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to show you guys here in a second after I get through some of your questions. I got some new model data that you're going to want to see. Where the wind's going to be like Central Ford County, I'd be on the lookout if you're in Ford, Iroquois County, up that area. Do the overnight storms pose any severe threat? They do. More of a wind damage threat, but a tornado is always possible. Heavenly is going to be hanging out with spiders in her basement with her cats. You'll be all right. Do you think they can upgrade the risk to a moderate risk? We talked about that earlier. It's always possible. But who cares? I hate how we get so stuck in the, is it enhanced? Is it moderate? Is it slight? Is it Doesn't matter. You're going to prepare the same way. You're going to have a tornado in the same enhanced risk that you're going to have in a moderate risk, right? So you got to prepare the same way. I think we get caught up sometimes in, is it enhanced? Is it moderate? It doesn't matter. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't, because you're not going to do anything different, right? Like, we have a very decent risk for severe weather and tornadoes tomorrow. Main severe weather is close to I-72, north of it, Ethan. Yeah, so you're close. So should I bank on staying at work later tomorrow? I don't know what time you get off work, Shanna. How can neighbors help each other in the immediate aftermath of a tornado? Well, you need to be careful going out, obviously, after a storm, especially at night. Can't see power lines. Some power lines still might be alive. It depends upon, if you've got first aid training, if you've got, spotter, EMT training, kind of stuff like that. So it really depends. And all is about where the front again lays tomorrow. And I'll kind of go back to that again. So where's the front going to be? And again, please give me a shout out, give me a like, give me a follow, give me a comment if you are enjoying the kind of in-depth analysis of our severe weather threat here. It's all about this warm front. See that warm front right there? That thing means everything. Where is the front going to set up? And it is right along and just south of the front where you're going to have those tornadic storms, okay? So I'm just going to leave that on screen there because it kind of shows, look how there's like nothing in those kind of southern areas, but those storms really get going close to that front. Let's see here. Where can we see the weather balloon report? You can see that on the Storm Prediction Center website, Keith. They'll show like the balloon launches or the results from them. Katie, you're welcome. So this is on the evening tomorrow. Yep, starting tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. Traveling to 3 to Peoria. It'll be okay. Might be coming home about 4 or 5. It's going to be close, Olivia. Have a way to get warnings. What does Muhammad look like, Tom? What does that mean tomorrow? Maybe that's tomorrow. Ashley. Muhammad could have those severe storms tomorrow night as well. We're right on that line where that, higher tornado threat is. Do you think they could issue a SIG 2 moderate risk? Again, it is possible. Jeffrey's going to be out there spotting, he says. Brockton, Illinois. Again, you guys are on that line there. Edgar County may be less of a threat as you work your way to the south. Underground parking garage. Anything underground is going to be good. Parking garage is usually pretty good. Jacob is supposed to be in the storm tracker tomorrow. We have some technical things we are working out, but yes, hopefully he will be out there. Think Danville is more a 6 or a 5? Call it 5.5. Yes, overnight storms still pose a severe risk. Deborah, you're welcome for the insights. Yeah, there you go. Robert posting where the upper air soundings are. Good job, Robert. Your husband thinks you're crazy when severe weather like this in our area. Grab the meds. Yeah, listen, grab everything. You know, the thing that's always interesting, and I'm just going to say this, but again, oops, that's not me. Adam Sherwinski. Adam's asleep right now. He'll be in the morning, though. Again, my name is Kevin Lighty. I'm the chief meteorologist here at WCIA. It's always interesting, and we get the same sound bite every single time after a tornado hits an area. Everybody always says generally the same thing. They always say, I didn't think it would happen to me. I've seen it on TV before. I can't believe it happened to me. Every time somebody says that after. Because, you know, too many people, I get it. You've never been hit by a tornado your entire life. You've been lucky. It takes one time to change your life. One time. So if that one time you're not prepared, it could be very different for you. But I'm telling you, every time we go and they shove the mic in the person's face after a tornado, say the same thing. At least once. At least somebody didn't think it happened to us. So you've always got to be prepared. Always. All right, back to some of your comments here. And then we're going to get to the new model data coming in. Heather, you're welcome for preparing you. The risk does not matter. Look in Michigan the other day. Ethan, good point. 2% risk. They had a horrible tornado. EF3. No basement. No crawl space. No good. Don't go to the crawl space. Your home could shift off the foundation and boom. Lowest level of your house, center part of your house. Jamie, you're welcome. Channel 3 will, yes, be live tomorrow. We'll be live on the platforms. All right. It's not necessarily a stationary front. It may like briefly kind of like stall for, you know, a little bit. It's kind of meander. But I mean, it's generally a warm front. But if it does stall a little bit longer, then that's kind of a concern. You could have kind of this, you know, some areas getting hit by storms over and over again. Again, coming up here just a little bit, I'm going to be showing the new model data. Marilyn, thank you. Laura, thank you. All right. All right. Fantastic. Okay. What do you say? Want some new model data? There we go. This is new data coming into us here, and this is kind of interesting, and I'll try to explain it. And sorry, I'm kind of looking off to the side here for a second. Here we go. New model data. This is called the HRRR, or the HRRR, as some people call it. It's a high-res model that shows the storm development and the timing. So here we go. This is interesting. This is new. There's this model here is wanting to do some storms. Now look at this. This is north of our area and more up, in the Chicagoland area, a little bit more Joliet. Okay, look at those. Look at those cells going up. That's 4 o'clock. That's 4 p.m. That those storms are getting going there. 4 o'clock. All right, let me see if I can't. Make that a little bit bigger. Let me see here. Stand by. Not really. Okay, well, good enough. You guys can see that pretty good, though. So look at those storms there to the north, 4 o'clock. And man, I have a feeling that's going to be in a very highly sheared and instability maxed out area. I just want to look at something real quick. Oh, wait. Oops. Hold on, that didn't make any sense. Yeah, oh my goodness. If those storms get going in that environment, wow. Okay, all right. I'm going to come back over here. Do that. All right, so this is actually trying to fire off some storms a little bit earlier. Notice those up there. And there that goes up into northwest Indiana. That's just north of what we consider our viewing area here. So that's now 6 o'clock. So some early storm. Will that happen or not? I think that has to do with if that cap breaks or not. Okay. But then look what happens. Boom. Look at that between 6 and 7 o'clock. There were no storms, and then boom. Now these again placed a little bit more to the north. But now you're getting into Peoria, Pontiac, northern McLean County, northern Ford, northern Iroquois County for that potential. And any of those storms there could be tornadic. But notice that it's pretty far north, maybe just clipping our northern counties. Now, is that going to be exact? We'll see. So that's 10 o'clock, supercells, individual discrete cells. And they're kind of moving over the same. But there could be, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little concerned about the same areas that could be hit, one after another. It's like the same spots getting hit with multiple supercells. So we're going to have to watch that. Okay, that's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Now we're starting to get, a little bit more of a southerly progression of some of those storms, and then some of those storms firing out to the west along the cold front, kind of coming in. Boy, these are really early in the morning. These are overnight. You're talking 3, 4 a.m. So that's the new model data. Look at those storms firing off there to the north. So here's what I want to stress. I'll tell you this, and I'm just going to pull this up. I'll do a couple things. We're going to look at surface instability, tons of that through the afternoon. If a storm gets going, notice the instability, how it falls off there to the north. That's where the warm front is. You maximize 3,000 Cape up that way. Boy, be on the lookout. Galesburg and Joliet and Kankakee, that area up there, if that's where it is. The STP we talked about, significant tornado perimeter. Look at those reds, purples up there. Just outside of our viewing area, but still maximized pretty good. So you're going to have that into all of the night there. So when even some of those other storms come through, they're going to have that tornadic potential. I have a feeling that this could turn into a long night for some, because this probably does come in a couple different waves. So I'm going to look at something. Oh my goodness, man, if those storms go, some of the, those tracks up there, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, those are some strong storms with a lot of rotational capabilities. 0 to 1 kilometer helicity. Basically, the spin in the atmosphere is maxed out up there. So some good components. So here is what I want you to take from this new model data coming in. Definitely across some of the northern counties. Maybe just outside of our WCIA3 viewing area, but still an area of concern. And also what I like to say is too close to call. Okay. And those storms up there, wherever that warm front sets up and just to the south of that, I got to tell you, those are some scary looking storms. The question is, where is the warm front going to be? And I keep stressing that. How far north does it get? And those storms like to ride along and just kind of south of it. And where those storms are, I think they're going to go tornadic fast. You'll have little time because it'll go from nothing to something. It is still absolutely possible that the models are too far to the north. That's definitely a possibility. We won't know until tomorrow where that front is going to set up. So that is kind of key because you saw in those models there, just exactly how, how intense those storms will be to the north. Let me see. Just bear with me for a second as I try to see if the new data is in on my weather computer. So sorry here for a second as I kind of look at that. Okay. So here's what I want to show you guys. And I think I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. So we have a way to adjust the model if we want to. And I'm going to do that for you. So we showed you what the model looked like there. I'm going to show you what it looks like if, let's say that the models are off by 45 miles. Let's say they're off by about 45 miles. I believe that's what I changed it to. Watch the storms tomorrow if they're off 45 miles. Ooh. Now that huge honking supercell is in northern Fort and Iroquois County at 4 o'clock. Then those other cells are firing off there near Bloomington and Pontiac down to Lincoln and coming into Champaign, DeWitt, Vermilion counties. Again, this is if the model's off by 45 miles, okay, to the south. Or if the warm front sets up a little more to the south. And you've got those severe storms there. So what I'm saying is it doesn't take much, okay, if the models are just barely off. So you have to pay attention. I'm going to take this and I'm going to fire it back to its regular. I'm going to take it back so you can see what it really is. So again, I adjust what we can model adjust based upon what we think. I'm going to take it 45 miles back to the north, and there it is there. Okay. So if this scenario plays out, let's say the model is exactly right, on the money, then here's your storm. Just outside of our viewing area, north of Pontiac, more up there north of Kankakee, riding that I-80 corridor. Boom, there it goes. But then you get those other storms firing. Maybe those are clipping Livingston, McLean, Ford, and Iroquois northern counties. While nothing is going on down in Champaign, Danville, Decatur, Springfield, and all of that. Okay? But then you get that line of storms that comes in pretty late for everybody. Who's going to be right? What model is going to be right? Is this model perfect? Or, we'll do it again, we will adjust by 45 miles. 45 miles. That's not much in terms of model data. And boop, look where it is now. Okay? So this just goes to show that even slight alterations, slight tweaks could result in very different scenarios playing out in just a 45-mile area. Does that make sense, folks? Does that kind of help? I would say that, it won't get any more south than, usually the models aren't going to be completely off. They're going to be a pretty general idea, but could they be off 50 miles? Absolutely. So that's just something to kind of consider. And since that's not an exact kind of thing, you have to wait and kind of see. Okay. So where will the warm front be? Will the cap break? All of these are some great questions here. I hope that kind of made some sense. And as I kind of manipulated the things a little bit there, kind of shows you guys what we're looking at. How many different forecasts? I'm going to come back to some of your guys' questions. How many different forecast models? And let's see here. Where should we look at here? We're going to pull up. Let's pull this up because it's always a fun one. Back to your questions. Again, guys, it's a little bit after 9 o'clock. I'm going to be getting ready for the 10 o'clock newscast here in a little bit. How many different forecast models do you typically use in forecasting these events? Is there some models that are better than others in Illinois? We're all using pretty much the same models, but the NAM, the Triple R is, a model that we obviously are going to use because they're high-res models, okay? And kind of, tell us the best picture. Can get some granular details in those models. Yep, Alicia, training of cells. Do I think it'll shift south? There's nothing that tells me yes, it will, but there's also nothing that tells me no, it will not. You're welcome, Sue. Second round of Storm Scott asking Springfield, Decatur, Champaign could be good through that first round as long as, again, those storms aren't firing up to the south. But that second round, yeah, I think there could be some little spin-up tornadoes in there and definitely a wind damage threat. All right, Deborah, excellent explanation. Thank you. Tasha, you are welcome. And you're welcome. Tornado in Ashcombe, Clifton area. Yeah, Nate, I would be on the lookout up that way. Yes, Austin, the second line could be tornadic. Again, guys, I hope you guys enjoy these kind of live things that we're trying to do a little bit, more of for you when it comes to severe weather. Again, those of you that don't know me, my name is Kevin Lighty. I'm the chief meteorologist here at WCIA, and been here at WCIA for, it'll be 9 years this summer. 9 years up in here with you guys. Been doing weather for 24 years. Long time. And happy to be with you to kind of get you guys a little bit of a more detailed breakdown, because I can't always, talk about, things so in depth during my 3 minutes that I get for weather. So yeah. So let me know if you guys like these lives, and we'll continue doing those. Oh, I love when I get comments like this. Hi, Kevin. Watching you talk about this is a real eye-opener. My little brother, Ryan, absolutely hates thunderstorms and gets severe anxiety about them. Watching you helps. What's up? What's up over there, Ryan? All is good, my friend. We will keep you updated. Again, more people kind of jump in here. Here's kind of some what to expect, all right? 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., we're going to be looking at that kind of tornado threat as the highest, all right? It's with those initial supercells as they get going. And where those are, it's sometimes hard to say. Then you get that kind of surge along the cold front that comes through, after 11 o'clock, after midnight, may come pretty late. There may have some of that wind damage threat with those. But that warm front position and that cap breaking are key to get those storms to fire off. All right. But the best tornado threat is going to be north of I-72. And if you ask some other weather models, maybe they're closer to the I-80 corridor. Okay, as you work your way closer to Chicago. Those early storms are going to have that potential for that tennis ball size hail. I think there could be some really big hail tomorrow in those areas to the north where those supercells get going. Have a way to get warnings, folks. Have a way to get warnings. Sign up for weather call. Get weather call, weather call, weather call, weather call. I'll call you on your phone, scan the QR code, go to our website, WCA.com, weather section there to find out more about that. Have a way to get those various warnings. Again, we are in the enhanced risk, 3 out of 5. I've had the question a lot. Are we going to go to 4? Are we going to be in the moderate? We'll see. There could be some areas just to the north that maybe get into that. I'm not going to lie. I mean, looking at some of this model data, there's some intense storm. I won't be surprised if there's a sliver of, so let me see here. Let me just kind of, I don't know if I can do this or not, but the way some of this new model data is coming in, and let me try to, oops, sorry, wrong one. I'm going to do this one. Okay, actually, do I want that graphic? No, I don't want that one. Sorry guys, I'm literally just doing this on the fly. I'm going to try to show you guys where I think potentially a moderate risk could go up. And that's not saying that it will. I'm just going to find the right graphic. SBC State Day 2. Okay, we're going to do this. All righty. Okay. That's what it looks like right now. Okay. If we would go to a moderate risk, I'm just going to kind of bear with me here as I just kind of draw this out. I'm probably going to put that thing right about there, to be honest with you. Okay? So I just kind of freehand kind of draw that. You know, according to what some of those models are showing, you know, it's extreme northern Iroquois, extreme northern Ford, Livingston, okay, this area here. If there would be a moderate, if I'm the forecaster, maybe we do that, okay? We'll see if that happens or not. But I got to tell you, whether that would be the case or not, it almost doesn't matter, right? Because you're going to have the threat either way. So, but if you're going to focus in on an area there, at least with some of those short-term models, that new H-trip model that just came through. And sorry, I'm just looking at some other things. The new NAM's coming in as well. Just looking at it. So that one's it's a little less kind of wild than the HRR one, but still showing those storms kind of coming in. But yeah, that's maybe where I might draw it again. They may hold off on it, but if you go to that, yes. But again, you have to look, you know, what they have parameters for what they are going to have to use to get moderate. You got to have a lot of storms. Coverage has got to be widespread. They got to have, you know, a ton of them, you know, several intense. If they're thinking those stronger tornadoes, you know, maybe they go to that moderate there. Okay. Some more stuff here. Amanda, you're welcome for the detailed information. Thomas appreciates the live. Donna wants to keep doing the lives. Lisa, Emily likes the lives. What's the game plan for weather crew tomorrow night? Could be a late one. Scott, you're right. So it's kind of fortunate, but also unfortunate. So we've got me in the studio, Jacob in the Storm Tracker. Seth was supposed to be off this week. He's on vacation, but they had to come back early. And so he's now back in town. So he actually may be in studio with me, which is great. Adam probably is going to not be in, but we may call him in early. You know, maybe we call him in at, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, if those storms are still going. So we've got that. Aaron has high anxiety. Updates help a lot. There you go. Josie's been watching WCIA since she was like 7. She's now 24 and loves watching. Thank you, Josie. What a fun birth story for my second being induced tomorrow morning. Well, let's get that out of the way in the morning there. Paula loves live streams, help getting prepared. Drawing is better than hers. And yes, Ashley, please continue the lives. Can a lack of sunshine and daytime heating tomorrow change the storm outcome? Yeah, but I don't foresee a lack of heating tomorrow. We're going to get the storms. We're going to get, look at these temperatures. Woo. Okay. We're going to get the heating. That's going to happen. Okay. It's about 9:13 here, guys. We're going to be wrapping up coverage on this here in just a bit. I get ready for the 10 o'clock newscast. Again, new model data coming in. I'll show it to you guys again. This is the model projection if the storms are off, or if the model is off by 45 miles. If it's to the south, storms could fire as early as 4 or 5 o'clock. Boom. Severe storms, 8, 9 o'clock. Okay. So again, that's me adjusting the model just to kind of show you guys what the difference could be. But I'll send it back to what the model is actually showing so we can, so we're not fudging it at all. Again, this model here wants to get those storms going early on. Maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, like one cell there. And then you get the real eruption there of some of those storms 7, 8 o'clock at night. But notice how they're kind of hugging our northern counties, just barely clipping some of our northern counties. So that's the question. Where exactly is the warm front going to be? Boom, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. You're not seeing much in Danville and Champaign if this model verifies, at least early on. And you get some of those storms that are very late and early into Wednesday morning, and maybe some of those could be severe. So once again, the tornadic threat area is basically in this orange area. And so this is taken into account the model being correct, but also the model maybe being off by 40 or 50 miles, which is why that orange color nudges its way into northern Vermilion, Champaign, DeWitt counties. But that model, again, was showing those storms more up north of Livingston, Kankakee County, kind of up that way, right? You get up there, that I-80 corridor. Where will they end up? We don't know. We won't know for sure. But I would be definitely paying attention if you live in McLean, Livingston, Ford, Iroquois counties, okay, especially the northern portions of that. I would be paying attention if you live in Peoria, okay, up that way. Definitely watching things carefully. Every room in my house has an outside wall. The only inner closet has a furnace in it. Praying hard the cap stays on and our viewing area is calm. Center part of your house. Center. Hopefully there's a closet. You got a closet at all? Center, you know? You need a wall between you and the outside as possible. Larry, keep the streams going, please. Extremely more informative than 3 minutes I get. Yeah. Do a great job. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate it, along with the whole team. You got it. Bloomington, Route 9, Danvers area. Yeah, I would be paying close attention up there. Ashley, you are welcome. Donna, you are welcome. And Alicia says, Reed Timmers coming to Illinois to chase. Sad face. He's usually in the heart of it, I'll tell you that. He's probably going to be up there in that I-80 corridor with some of that stuff. Okay, guys, last few questions here, last few messages before I close it down. You can go back and watch this. When I end the live stream, you can go back and watch this again if you want to I answered a lot of the questions that maybe some of you have, or you can just tune in at 10 o'clock and I'll kind of go into in-depth of all of that. Just a couple other things, some great ways to, send us messages and keep in contact. If you guys get pictures of damage or anything, weather at WCA.com, email, of course, the Facebook page, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I don't think I've updated this graphic in a while. We can send your pictures and all that good stuff our way or on the weather app. So just kind of jot that down. Don't forget to get a weather call. Sign up for weather call. I will call you on your phone. I will actually call you if there is severe weather. So sign up. Let's see. What else do I got? Again, just quickly on the timing. Things ramping up there in the evening and overnight period with the time of the storms. Again, maximized area of potential significant tornadic parameter. Look at this. Just to the north there, where kind of that red and purple color kind of comes in. And notice it is a little different than the one I showed you earlier. Maybe going just a little bit north. We're in the enhanced risk. Orange color area. Be on the lookout. Everybody's going to get some storms probably at some point and some lightning. Most all are going to have those storms that might have some strong winds and maybe some 55-mile-an-hour winds, maybe just below severe criteria. Some are going to get that severe criteria. Maybe there's tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings, 60, 70-mile-an-hour winds. And a few may have tornadoes. Might have an EF2 in there with wind damage and power outages. So it depends upon where you are, again, folks. All right, this won't be posted to the app, Becky. It's going to live here online. Carla, you are welcome. When should we be the most worried in Monticello? You got to be watching those storms as they initiate. If those storms initiate to the north a little bit better, or then you'll feel a lot better. But if those storms initiate further south, closer to I-74, I-72, got to watch out. So weather call, 100% worth it. Katie loves it. Perfect. How does weather call work? Is it for severe weather or tornado type weather? Yep. It's for both of those. Only for you set your location, you set like your address or where you are, and it will only call you when there's a warning in your area. Yep. I'll be on all night tomorrow night. Like we may not be like on television. If the warnings aren't right down here in our area, When they get in our area, we will. But again, we won't go on for like McLean County. That's technically Peoria's market, so we won't go on there. But I'll jump on here, and we'll be like doing this kind of stream. But we'll be down the studio and everything on TV if it gets into our area that we cover. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, give this a share. Share it on your Facebook page so the others that maybe missed it. Because, I get bombarded with a lot of questions. And I try to answer as many as I can. But maybe if you share this with somebody, a lot of the questions can be answered within it. And with graphics and fun things like that. So, that'll be something to maybe help those people out. So give it a share. Okay, or a like or a comment, because then that, kind of forces the algorithm that, since people are liking or commenting, then it's like, oh, yeah, this was useful to some people. So then other people may see it in their feed, and then it can help. You will help me, because then maybe this will answer some of the questions and whatnot. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream here. We'll be back with you again tomorrow. And yeah, Jayla, I wouldn't say be scared, be prepared. Don't be scared, be prepared if you're up in Livingston County, but I would definitely be paying attention, and I would stay weather aware if you are in Livingston County tomorrow night. Absolutely. Okay. So there you go. You're welcome, Becky, and good, helpful information. Donna, you're welcome, Zane. And keep your bike helmets handy there. That does it here for our live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. I really appreciate all of you. Have a way to get warnings. Be ready to go. And if things get bad, we're going to be on the air. We're going to be streaming in all these places. So wherever you found us here tonight, we will be streaming again tomorrow night. So definitely just remember where we are. Give us the like and follow on whatever page you're watching this on, and we'll be back with you when the next storm arrives. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you. My name is Kevin Lighty, Chief Meteorologist here at WCIA. It says so right there. We'll catch you again tomorrow night. We'll see how things play out. In the meantime, keep an eye to the sky, stay weather aware, and we'll catch you guys later.